You're listening to Born to Beam, a radiation therapy podcast hosted by John Claudy.
All right. Well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Born to Beam podcast, where we share stories from the radiation therapy community. I am your host, John Claudy, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Ellen Morin. Hey, Ellen.
Hi, John. How are you?
Good. How's your day been going?
It's been going pretty good.
Can't complain?
We finally have some sunshine up in Massachusetts. We've had a lot of rain and a lot of snow, so I'll take whatever I can get up here.
Did you guys have a pretty average winter? Was it worse? Was it better?
It was less snow than usual until about February, and then we got like 3 huge snowstorms that just kind of shut everything down for a while.
I do not miss the snow. I used to live in Chicago, and I got enough of it. Don't need to see it ever again. How long have you been up in the Northeast?
I am a bit of an Army brat, so I've spent most of my time up in New England, but I was born in California. I have been to Germany. I have lived in South Carolina. I've lived in Mississippi. So as much as I speak with a New England accent, I've been told that sometimes the Southern slips in as well.
So how long have you been up in New England?
Most of my life. Where I am now, I live a half a mile from where my parents live. So I'm more or less a lifer up here in Massachusetts.
Do you have a favorite place that you kind of lived, or?
I think my favorite spot, at least when I was a kid, was South Carolina because there was no snow, or you got to dust it. Weather was beautiful, and we had a pool. So as a kid, I loved being able to go in that pool all year round. But I do like it up here, even with the snow.
Summers are beautiful, I'm sure, right?
They are. We get pretty good weather up here. Doesn't get above 100 too often, but occasionally.
Yeah. All 4 seasons, right?
Yeah, we get the fall, we get the leaf peepers, so it's definitely a sight to behold up here, and I don't have to travel far.
That's great. I do love the Northeast. I would never live up there, but I do love to visit. I feel like it has a rich culture, lots of history. One of my favorite cities is Boston. So, I mean, are you close to Boston, or?
I'm about an hour and a half west of Boston. So I'm far enough away that I live kind of out in the sticks, I like to say. It's pretty quiet. It's a town of 2,000 people. But if I really want to go into the city, it's not too far, and I can enjoy the museums and the food and the culture and the whole city life, and it's not too bad.
That's great. The Radiation Therapy Conference is in Boston this year.
I know. I'm very excited. I'm hoping maybe I can find a day I can go up there and check all the goodies out and all the educational stuff and all the new technology.
I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Lots of cool things there too. Anyway, let's see. How'd you get into radiation therapy? Do you have a backstory there?
So I'm sure like a lot of us, wanted to be in healthcare. I had been in college at the time, and of course my high school counselor said, healthcare, you've got to be a nurse or a doctor. That's clearly the only 2 options that are out there. Decided I did not want to go the full route of being a doctor and the many, many years of schooling. So I left. I ended up working at a photo lab, which surprisingly enough led to me working at a mammography department because at the time they still had physical films. And they needed somebody who knew how to handle the film chemicals. So I got in there that way. And somebody eventually said to me, you should look at radiation therapy. They always need people. It's a great field, blah, blah, blah. So I started doing my research. I liked what I saw. It wasn't like X-ray or CT where you they're in, they're out. You don't really get to know their story or do more than that. And I liked the idea of getting to know them, following through treatment that you were treating, you weren't just diagnosing, and just really fell in love with it from there.
So how long have you been in the field?
About 15 years now.
That's great.
Which feels very strange to say, but
I can never remember anymore. When someone asks me, I really have to think back, how long I've been doing this, and it's been 17 years. So it doesn't feel like 17 years. It feels more like 10 years, I guess. I don't know if you feel the same way or not.
Yeah, I guess as they say, time flies when you're having fun, right?
Hey, I hope we're having fun. What kind of careers did you have with radiation therapy? Were like hospital setting, outpatient clinic, or?
So I spent, before working with Gentle Cure, I was at St. Vincent Hospital in Worcester, and I actually spent my whole pre-Gentle Cure career there, but I was able to
Mhm.
work with the Trilogy machines. I was able to be trained so I could work with the CyberKnife for the
Oh yeah,
stereotactic radiation treatments, which was really interesting. I'm so glad I had the opportunity to do that, to learn about it. And we treated
yeah.
so many cases that you just weren't able to treat with a normal LINAC. That was
Mhm.
very, very unique.
It's definitely interesting, and I don't know how many people have worked on a cyberknife, but just how it moves around and it's pretty neat.
Watching it move with people actually breathing, if everyone
Yeah,
looks at the video, it's just incredible, the accuracy and the movement of it.
high tech for sure. How long have you been a Gentle Cure then now?
About 3.5 years now.
Hopefully liking it so far.
I am planning to stick around for a long time to come.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's really different from what we're used to, but if like once you find your groove and everything, it's I mean, a pretty sweet gig. How do you think your role as a radiation therapist has evolved over time? I know you've kind of only been at two different places, but even like from your very first day to now, have you like noticed a big change in radiation therapy in general, or just in your knowledge around radiation therapy? Would you say?
I think definitely for me personally, there's been a change. I remember, the first time walking in and saying, "Oh, I'm not a student now. I'm a board
Yeah.
certified radiation therapist." And you're surrounded by people who have been doing it for years and years and just feeling very nervous and anxious. And then you slowly get that confidence. You learn from other people. You pick up their little tricks and tips, and you make your own tips and tricks, and you kind of put them all together, in the office, in the dermatology setting now. I miss some of the having everybody on hand, but at the same time, being able to now work with the dermatology staff, learning so much and being a little bit more hands-on, I think, than what I was in the radiation oncology setting, where you're there from the start, that consult, you're
Mhm.
setting everything up, you're doing the treatments, and you're actually getting to see them afterwards is something you
Yeah.
never experienced in rad.
Yeah.
And that I think is a huge reward that you get to have with this that I never would have had otherwise. And see them
Yeah.
smile and say, "Oh, it's all done. It's all healed. It's cured. Thank you so much."
Yep.
And then they come and wave at you every time they come and have their routine skin checks, and they want to go see Ellen. I have to wait to go see her, and I'll go say hi to them and see how they're doing.
Oh, it's always great to see patients when they come back. When you are like in regular radiation therapy, did you have students and stuff that you taught or?
We did. We had students that would come through, and that was probably one of my most favorite parts of the job when I
Mhm.
remember being that nervous, anxious student and helping them through and building their confidence and building their skills and helping them be the therapist that I knew they could be, even if they
Yeah.
weren't sure of it just yet.
I think it's just something about radiation therapists' personalities, but I feel like all of us love to teach. I have yet to meet a therapist who's like, "Oh my god, I hated students. I never want to have students at my side or anything like that." I think it's just something that we really enjoy doing because we teach our patients about it all the time. Because we got to explain it to them, and you're with them, sometimes 6, 7, 8 weeks even, and you got to have something to talk about. So
Oh, yeah.
radiation therapy comes up at some point, and you get to tell them about like where the radiation comes from, side effects, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, get some interesting questions and always hearing, well, I know this is a dumb question. I say there's no such thing as dumb questions. I love every question. And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to find somebody who does, and
Yeah,
I'll bring that answer to you, and then I'll learn something too.
I love that. My grandpa always said, if you didn't learn anything during a day, it was a day wasted. So always got to learn something every day. Do you have like any memorable patient interactions or anything? Obviously, don't mention their name, but do you have any memorable patients that come to mind?
I remember having one patient at the hospital who would come in and he was angry at everybody all the time. It didn't matter what the day was. It didn't matter how his day had gone. Didn't matter if he took him early, on time. He was just gonna be mad.
Yeah.
He also had a little bit of a speech impediment. So he just did not have the patience that was needed for us to kind of take our time and listen.
Mhm.
I kind of got to know him a little bit better, and I started to be able to understand what he was saying a little bit better over the weeks that we were seeing him. By the time of probably his last week or so, he went from yelling at every single person he could find when he would walk in the door to saying hello and asking how your day was. And when he was all done, he was actually kind of sad to be leaving because he realized that, we weren't just there to push buttons or get him in and out. We wanted to know about him. We wanted to treat him as a person and not just a number, and see him as the whole. And I think he really
Mhm.
appreciated that by the end.
I think a lot of people have been there where, you win over a grumpy patient and it just makes it that more special. For me anyway, and it sounds like it did for you too.
You get that special connection that you probably neither of you thought was going to happen, but it did.
Yeah. I remember we were treating a patient in Chicago, and like you said, he was a grouch. And on the last day, he brought all the girls flowers, and like when he brought the flowers in, everyone's jaws just like dropped, like, oh my gosh, like, and he was just he was kind of grouchy and apologized, but I mean, it was just a really sweet gesture by him because he, like you said, he understood that the therapists there were cared about him. They weren't there just to, like you said, push buttons and get people in and out. Like they truly cared about everyone they treated. So can really mean a lot to people. But I love that. Do you have any advice that you would give someone considering radiation therapy?
I would say, first of all, definitely look into it to go for it. If you have a passion for healthcare, you have a
Mhm.
passion for helping people. And to students, I would just say, be open to always learning because you're never
Yeah.
going to stop learning in this field. And even when you think years and years in, you think you know everything, you've seen all the different situations that can happen. I promise you, you're going to get something brand new and you're going to learn a new way to do things, a new way to approach things, and just don't get stuck in a rut in the routine of what you're used to. Just be open to adapting and learning. It's definitely
Yeah.
a field for that.
Yeah. I love that. Being open for change. I think in the healthcare fields, I mean, change is constantly happening. So you gotta be open and just roll with the punches sometimes. Now, outside of work, do you have anything that you're most proud of? Has nothing to do with your job. What are you most proud of that you've accomplished?
Right now, I actually go to karate
Oh,
classes,
cool. Yeah.
Shotokan karate, with my 9-year-old daughter. We've been
Awesome.
doing it for about a year and a half. We both have our green belts. We have promoted through the ranks together, and now we are no longer considered novice. We're considered intermediate, which feels
Okay.
very strange to me. I don't feel like I am, but we go to competitions and tournaments, and it's nothing like anything I've ever done before, but it has
Yeah.
been a lot of fun and a lot of hard work.
So I feel bad about this, but I really don't know a lot about karate. Where's your green belt? So where does that stand in the line of belts?
So and I had to learn so much. They're like, oh, it's this, it's this. They use terms, and I felt like the patients would coming in, what are you talking about? And different schools of karate might have different color rankings, but you'll basically have maybe like a white, a yellow, and an orange. For my
Mhm.
school is your beginner. And then they have blue, green, green with a purple stripe, and purple belt. And that's intermediate. And then advanced would be the brown and the black belt. And I never realized, even with the black belts, they have their own tiered system that you get your black belt. That's not the end of it. You keep learning and you keep testing, over many years.
Awesome.
That's a lot of fun.
So have you like broken boards or anything like that yet?
I bought a set of boards for my daughter to practice on, and some of them are very, very easy and some of them are very hard, and she's 9,
Yeah.
so she'll throw her punch, Mom, please. It's gotta go a little harder. We'll get there. Don't worry about it. Don't stress.
Yeah.
As I tell her, it's the journey. It's not the end destination.
No, that's really sound advice, I think. And I'm sure it teaches you like patience and what do you get at karate, I guess.
Well, when we went to the first tournament, my daughter started before I did, and I would see these women and men in their 60s, in their 70s. They
Wow.
were actually competing. And I was, just kind of blown away and thinking to myself, I want to be that old lady who can touch her toes, who can move around and do all the things I want to do. So let me just give it a try. And I will say there's nothing quite so humbling as going into a class, being the only grown up amongst the kids. And, the
No.
instructor says, give me push ups, touch your toes, do this particular move, and they can do it no problem. And you're sitting there really struggling. But you keep going. Failure teaches you. There's really no such thing as true failure.
Definitely. So, like, whenever you go to competitions, hopefully, like, you're competing against do you compete against people in your age and skill level, or is it just skill level? Is it just
Yeah,
age?
they break it down by age and by skill level. So
Okay,
you're with your peers, which is good because
that's
I
good.
would definitely have my butt kicked if I was going against somebody, as an 18-year-old or something like that. And I've
Yeah.
made a lot of friends who are, again, the grown-ups like me, never having done it before, and you go in cheering for each other, even if you lose to that person, and learning sportsmanship and all that good stuff.
So you said you have one daughter. Do you have any other kiddos at home?
Just my one daughter. Her
Okay.
name's Tabitha, goes by Tabby Cat.
Nice. Good. Do you guys do anything else together outside of karate or any other activities like that?
That's taken up a lot of our time. I always thought when I was younger, like, man, I kind of hope my daughter doesn't really want to do dance or gymnastics. So if she does, I'll
Right.
do it. But there's a lot of traveling and there's a lot of
Yeah.
this and that. And we ended up doing karate, and it's a lot of traveling and this and that. But it is a lot of fun. But she
Good.
is probably the other thing we share is she's very much an avid reader and
Mhm.
wanting to be a little bit of a gardener and a cook. So
Nice.
I'm trying to teach her those things as well.
It's wonderful. I love it. How do you handle stress on tough days? Does karate help with that, or you have other outlets to help relieve stress?
The karate definitely helps. It's always a good feeling when you can punch a punching
Yeah.
bag, relieve some of that stress. But I find for me at least when I'm in that moment, I just try to, if I'm getting overwhelmed, stop, take a breath and take it one thing at a time and realize, I'm just gonna do my best. And
Mhm.
if I can't get it all done right now, there's always tomorrow. And also
Yeah.
just remembering that whatever my bad day is, you know, it could be worse. It has been worse than other times, and
Mhm.
I made it through those things, and it will be what it will be, and I can only do my best.
That's good advice. I saw something recently. It kind of put things into perspective, but if you took a group of people, they all have problems, they all write their problems down and put them in a hat. Would you keep your problem or would you be willing to pull another problem out of the hat? And I think
Ugh,
it's a
I think
tough,
that's a tough one. I almost feel like instead of giving somebody my own problems, because I'm also a type 1 diabetic and I
hmm
wouldn't want somebody else to have to deal with that.
yeah,
I'd take somebody else's problem and see what I can do to help with that instead.
yeah. Well, you're a very caring individual. That's great. What makes you feel most appreciated?
I think my favorite thing, and I've noticed it here in the dermatology office a little bit more just because you've got a lot of patients moving in between rooms and seeing different providers and just different things instead of being your rat onc, everyone going to your room for that one thing. And I'll hear little bits and pieces of conversation either with the providers or the office staff or the patients. And if it's somebody I've treated or am
Mhm.
treating, they'll just be talking and say, oh, Ellen was really, really nice. I'm so glad that I had the treatment and she really took good care of me. So when you kind of hear those things that maybe they're not saying directly to you, but they thought it was important enough, it meant enough to them that they wanted to share it with somebody else. And you kind of
Mhm.
know that has to really be the truth if they're sharing it with somebody else. So it's nice to hear something that you feel is a really honest feeling from that person.
Makes me feel all warm and fuzzy just you talking about it. Do you have any recent memories that made you really laugh about something or just you really enjoyed?
So back to my daughter, She
Mhm.
just lost one of her teeth
Oh,
maybe a month or so ago,
yeah.
and she still believes in the tooth fairy, so we had everything set up, but she was going to spend the night with her father,
Mhm.
and I was gonna see her during the week. Well, she lost a tooth during the day. I thought she took it to his house, and tooth fairy's gonna deliver the money there.
Yeah.
He didn't, and she didn't say anything to me, and then one morning, maybe 2 weeks later, I was like, "What's under your pillow?" "Oh, I've been putting my tooth there, and Tooth Fairy's just not been coming over. I don't know what's going on." And I'm like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "Oh, I bet you the Tooth Fairy was looking over in your dad's house and trying to figure out where it went." I then had to write like a little note, and I wrote it in cursive so it would look like it was not from
Yeah.
mom, in a nice little envelope, and I drew a tooth on it with some smiles, and instead of her $1, she did get $10. We put a
Good
little
save.
envelope and slipped it under there, and she was so happy the next day. I'm like, "Oh, thank goodness. I didn't,
Yeah.
ruin anything." She was just very, very happy and thrilled, but I was thinking, "Oh my gosh, she was sleeping for like 2 weeks with this tooth under
Mhm.
her pillow, and she just didn't say anything."
It's impressive she didn't lose it.
I know.
That's really funny. My wife and I are the worst when it comes to, like, the tooth fairy, because it usually, like I feel like the kids we have 2, and they both lost teeth. It's always, like, right before bedtime.
Mhm.
Like, we have, like, a $20 bill on our wall. It's like, "I'm not gonna give them $20 for their tooth," you know?
At a quarter,
Yeah.
$20. Inflation is something else.
Yeah, so we've just been, we'll be like, "Well, let's," I think that it's too late to tell the tooth fairy for tonight, but we'll let the tooth fairy know to come tomorrow night, and then still, like, we'll forget. Or at one point, you remember those gold Sacagawea $1
Yes.
coins? I
Yeah.
found, like, 6 of them and started giving those out, and the kids loved them. Even it's
That's
still a
awesome.
dollar, but it was, like, a unique
That's like
dollar.
treasure.
But we're out of those now, so I was I'll hate to admit it, but we were, like, 2 weeks late the last time we gave money for the tooth fairy, but the kids were I think my son, he's our oldest, I think he's kinda on to us, but gotta find out the time.
Or they'll just say, "Well, maybe I'll keep pretending I know a little longer so I'll get some more money."
Exactly. Yeah. Is there a memory you have or you hold on to, when you need to just feel, like, a sense of warmth or anything? Any good memories?
I know it sounds corny, but probably thinking back to when my daughter was born and the crazy middle of the night, you have to get up, you have to
Mhm.
change them and feed them, and then you're just rocking them back to sleep, but it would be quiet. I would just be singing a song to her and hearing her breathe, and you start to, as any parent, you start thinking about this tiny little life and everything that you want for
Yeah.
them, but you'd have enough time, and I'd reflect and say, "I need to make sure I think really well of myself. I treat myself well. I try to be the example of everything I want for her and appreciate everything I do have, and in those tough moments, and realize, this is what it's all about. No matter where you
Mhm.
go or what happens in life, you've got that can never be taken away from you, that connection, that little life that's always going to be looking up to you."
Or you are so right when it comes to that. Just like you said, I'll never forget, it was my son, and he was quite a bit older and, wasn't as cuddly anymore. He didn't like to cuddle, but I just remember one night he was sick and in the middle of the night, but I just sat in the chair and held him and he slept in my arms, and it was perfect, you know?
Hmm.
I knew he was getting older and weren't gonna have those opportunities as much anymore. So you gotta cherish them while you can.
Yeah, I've had her so far. She'll still hug and cuddle me. When we went to a party once, I was not allowed to dance near her. I was told that it was embarrassing.
That's great. Last question I have for you is, what risk are you glad that you took?
I think for me, a risk that I'm very, very happy I took was both deciding to go to school for radiation therapy because I was older At the time, starting school, I was 25 years old. I didn't exactly have a direct path of just school to radiation therapy to working. And I'd had some time where I left school. I was doing jobs at the hospital in different roles, which was invaluable. I learned a lot of different things and different experiences that really served me very well in my career. It was kind of scary because
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody else who did this. I knew it would be a lot of hard work and dedication, and it's all on you. And I was kind of on my own doing it, and I got through it. And then when I decided to join Dental Cure, again, I didn't know anybody who did it. Our
Yeah.
office was actually the very first one in Massachusetts, so I didn't really have anywhere around that I could kind of look to and say, well, what is it like in this area? Or it was all completely brand new, never being in dermatology. So I knew it was going to be an adventure one way or another. And I looked
Yeah.
forward to it, but it felt like a big risk at the time of unknowns.
Well, you made it.
I
You're
did.
here. And hopefully you're very proud of yourself. You should be.
I think we all should be kind to ourselves and not always downplay our accomplishments. Remember everything
Yep.
we've worked so hard to do, and we'll keep doing.
Exactly. Well, that's all I have. Thanks for joining us. I really
Thank you for
appreciate it.
having me.
It's
Yeah.
fun to get to learn about you, and we've never met before, so it was nice to meet you virtually. And who knows, maybe we'll run into each other at the Radiation Therapy Conference in the fall.
Yeah, we just might. I hope so.
All right. Thank you for joining another episode of the Born to Being podcast. Special thanks to Ellen for joining us today. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you for listening to Born to Beam. This episode was brought to you by Gentle Cure by Skin Cure Oncology, a non-surgical radiation therapy option for treating non-melanoma skin cancer.